Hey, what's going on everyone? This is iReviews back with another video, and today we're talking about iOS 18.2. As you probably know, iOS 18.2 has been on the 4th beta for a really long time. The last time Apple released a beta for iOS 18.2 was on November 20th. That's beta 4, and from there we didn't get any update whatsoever regarding iOS 18.2. And this is actually a really important update. In my opinion, this is the most important update to iOS 18, as it will bring the most important new features and changes, especially when talking about the Apple Intelligence features and the Mail features that Apple will release with 18.2. So you can expect new features when it comes, of course, to the writing tools, new ways to access the writing tools from the pop-up menu. You will have here the ability to describe the changes that you want to make, the compose section here where you can of course have ChatGPT compose anything you want for you directly from here from the writing tools of iOS. And of course we get the new apps on iOS 18, the new image playground app, which allows to create images based on basically anything you want. Just enter your prompts and create different images. You now will be able to also create your own emojis, so anytime you can think of an emoji and it doesn't exist, you can actually do that right now with iOS 18.2. And then you will also get the new Mail app, which is not part of Apple Intelligence. The Mail app will be available to all devices across iOS 18.2, so that's really great. You will get the new categories, and what's really cool, what I really like what Apple has done with the Mail app on iOS 17.2 is that you actually have the chance to go back to the old look. I wish they had done this for the Photos app. That would be amazing. So of course we will have other cool features like the ability to set a limit for the volume of your device, the ability to have a volume slider on the lock screen, and all these features again will make iOS 18.2 probably the biggest update to iOS 18. But where is this update? What's happening? Why Apple is not releasing it, and why we still haven't gotten the RC version of this software? Well, we're currently on the 4th beta, and you can expect Apple, of course, to next release the RC before they release the final public release of iOS 18.2. And we have been waiting for this week actually to be the week that Apple would release iOS 18.2, the RC version. That should have happened right here on the 2nd or the 3rd of December. Even though there's still time, I believe this week, even today, Apple could release the RC version of iOS 18.2. But the schedule here has been messed up. Now, we have been expecting, first of all, iOS 18.2 to be released to the public on the week of December the 2nd. That was the first report by Mark Gurman, who is of course our very trusted source when it comes to Apple related stuff. And that way, of course, Apple releasing the last beta on November 20th. I would expect I actually expected Apple to release the RC on the 25th here, and then on the 2nd release iOS 18.2 to the public, but that didn't happen. And then Apple actually didn't release anything. We expected Apple to release the RC during this week, and probably the 9th of December to be the day that Apple will release iOS 18.2 to the public, but it looks like this won't actually happen as well. Even though, again, as I said, that has been times when Apple has released like an RC late in the week, and that might happen even today. If that happens, then you can expect iOS 18.2 to be released to the public next week, either on the 9th or the 10th of December. But chances are really slim, so if Apple doesn't do that, then expect the RC version to actually come on December the 9th right here, and that will actually be almost 3 weeks after the release of the last beta of iOS 18.2, which is really crazy. Now if that happens and Apple releases iOS 18.2, the RC version, on the 9th of December, then the public release will most likely happen on December the 16th. Usually Apple will do that. Usually they release a big update on a Monday, so that's the date that I expect Apple to release iOS 18.2, if of course they don't release the RC version this week. Now, as we're waiting for the release of iOS 18.2, here are a few things you need to know when it comes to updating to iOS 18.2. Now, first of all, if you're currently on the 4th beta or you're on the public beta of iOS 18.2 and you want to install the RC version, once it gets out, you can just update it. Should be out again. I think this week might be it, but I don't really expect Apple to release it today. Most likely it will be on Monday. So when Apple releases the RC version, you can just go ahead and go to the software update page here and update to the RC version. Doing that will prevent you from updating to the public release, even though keep in mind that these are both the exact same update. So if you're on betas, you can install the RC version. You don't have to wait for the final or the public release because it's the exact same update. Now, what you can do from there, if you don't want to install any more betas of iOS 18, probably right after iOS 18.2, we will get the first beta of iOS 18.3. Then you can just go ahead and go to beta updates right here and make sure to turn them off again if you don't want to continue with the betas of iOS 18.3. Now, if you're currently on iOS 18.2 beta 4 or any of the public betas and you don't actually want to install the RC version, you just want to wait for the public version, even though, as I said, they're both the same update. What you can do is right now, before the RC is released or before you install it on your iPhone, go to the beta updates right here and turn them off. That way you won't get the RC version on your device, but when the Apple releases the public version of iOS 18.2, you should just go here, refresh your page, and you will get the update for iOS 18.2. And before you update your device to iOS 18.2, a couple of other things you need to know. The battery on iOS 18.2 is actually quite solid. Now, this is for my own experience using my device here with iOS 18.2 since beta 1, and you can see right here we have a device with the battery health at 91%, and here are the last 10 days. So that we have 50% for today, 3 hours 17 minutes. Then we have right there about 85%, 10 hours 26 minutes. Right here we have about 115%, 12 hours on screen. Right there again 120% maybe, that we have 10 hours and 59 minutes. And right here 125% of battery, 10 hours 11 minutes. This is actually quite a good performance when it comes to battery life. Let me know how battery has been doing on your device with iOS 18.2 if you have any of the betas, but in my experience, actually this update had a quite solid battery life, even though we're still on the beta stages. And one thing that has really impressed me when it comes to iOS 18.2 is the performance. Now, this is the best score I've got on this device since I've had it, and this is on iOS 18.2. As you can see here, we have Geekbench 6, and we have the results right there for the single core score, 2,957, while we have an incredible multi-core score at 7,367 here on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Again, when it comes to battery, it's quite good, but when it comes to performance, it actually crushes every other version of iOS 18 and even iOS 17. So it performs really good, and overall, when you just use it on daily basis, it's actually quite stable. So that's pretty much it for this video, guys. We have been waiting again for iOS 18.2, the RC version, for more than 2 weeks now. Hopefully it might happen today, or at least this Monday, this upcoming Monday. So that should be December the 9th. So we have to wait and see what will happen. Hopefully we'll get this update soon on our devices. So that is it. Thank you guys for watching. For more iOS 18.2 videos, make sure to subscribe, and of course, don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you on the next one.